Dick Grasso knows all of this stuff. He's very, very hip. Dick is, of course, the former New York Stock Exchange chairman and CEO. Very good read of the markets and where this country is going. Dick, it's always a pleasure to see you. You know, a lot of tensions, a lot of concerns, the China thing, the Nancy Pelosi, should she go to Taiwan thing, the government spending thing. And along these markets, here they are climbing these wall of worries. What do you make of it?
Well, great to be with you, Neil. We have to remember that in every down cycle in the market, there are going to be rallies. So the question prevailing is this a bottoming process and will the market head back up, or is it a dead cat bounce? I think the earnings numbers that we've seen this month and in the last couple of days, particularly from Apple and Google, suggest that the bottoming process is a real one. However, and a very large however, and I compliment you, Neil, on your excellent interview with Ray Dalio. The reality is when you pour money into the economy, and if you just look at the reconciliation bill and the CHIPS bill, which are on the table right now, we're looking at $1 trillion worth of new money potentially coming into the market. That's going to impede, if not accelerate, inflation, not curb inflation. And I say the warning signals are out. Neil, you and I remember the way Paul Volcker and the Fed, the inflation cycle 40 years ago. That breaking of the inflation caused a long-term government bond to be at 15.75%. We're a long way from that, my friend.
Very true. You know, though, I'm wondering if this buying picks up, and it seems to find that is the market, the positive news in even bad news. Even when big companies disappoint on earnings or revenues, they look at a pocket of growth. In Amazon, it could be cloud activity. In Apple, it could be that they're selling a lot of iPhones, even though not nearly as much of other stuff. So they're predisposed to try to look at the half-full glass. I don't know how long that lasts, Dick, but what do you make of that?
Well, you know, Neil, and you know me a long time, I'm a perennial bull. So, you know, this is a cycle that's a vicious one, and people are, you know, spinning the numbers to meet their political objectives. The reality is you wouldn't expect anyone in the current administration to use the dreaded R word. But the reality is, you know, 2 quarters of consecutive GDP contraction by all economic measures is indeed a recession. Now, they point to the strong jobs numbers. Peel that onion back, Neil, and ask yourself the question, how many of those jobs that have been created are people taking second jobs because they can't support a family on their first job? How many of those jobs
but you know,
are being taken?
Acknowledging all of that, I think you raise a very good point there, because you always do. But you and I both lived through the 70s. We sound like two old guys convincing, remember the 70s and leisure suits. Well, having said that, I'm wondering whether we're tying ourselves to that stagflation period prematurely. I know it's tempting, but I think this is not at all like that period. I remember there was no backdrop of job gains at all. There were no jobs, period. And I remember you had that combined with the hyperinflation as well. And I'm just beginning to think, all right, it's possible down the road we see the stag part of this really become an issue. But are the markets jumping? Not that they're the greatest barometer in the future, but are they jumping because they think the Federal Reserve won't have to go crazy and get as high as that, you know, 15, 16% you were alluding to, because they'll be able to tamp this down before rates get much higher? What do you think?
Well, as we both know, Neil, markets are forward-looking, and measurements of GDP are backward-looking.
Right.
I think what the market is saying is we have an opportunity, given a sane amount of spending to stimulate, but not to create a flame under the cost of maintaining a family. You know, Neil, ask yourself a question. If you're a cop or a fireman making 100 grand a year and raising 3 kids, and you look at gas and you look at fuel, and they don't care how we define what is or
You're exactly
isn't.
right. You're exactly right.
Out what they're going to pay at the pump and what they're going to pay at the grocery checkout. And I think that our leadership in Washington, and this is not to speak to one or another side of the aisle, our leadership has got to start talking to the people that I'm talking about. Cops, firemen, construction workers, people who are making 100 to 150,000 a year and have seen gasoline double. They've seen chicken go up 100%, beef go up, 70 or 80%. And that's the target audience, Neil. And I do think, I'll come back around to your question. Can we come out of it? Absolutely. But we've got to take a reasoned approach to how we stimulate as opposed to simply throwing money at goods and services. And right now, I think the Congress, both sides of the aisle, both houses of Congress have got to step back and start talking to the American people as a whole, not the people in Silicon Valley, not the people on Wall Street, but the people in middle America, and ask the question, what do you need? And that's what they've got to deliver. You know, I was very disappointed that Senator Manchin has signed on to this reconciliation bill, because Senator Manchin is going to have to go back to West Virginia and explain the taxes in this bill that are applicable to coal production. Boy, I'll tell you, Neil, he's going to have some interesting dialogue with his constituents.
I think you're right about that. Dick Grasso, always a pleasure, my friend. Let's swap these old land stories again very, very soon. Dick Grasso, the former NYSE chairman and CEO, never forgot his roots. I always admired that. Some people become really big success stories and have a lot of money, but they forget where they came from. He never did, never did.